Hello and welcome to another episode of the Big Time Strength podcast that we're kind of doing in a clinic form here too. So if you are on the actual podcast, if you want to check out YouTube for the video, I definitely recommend it, especially for this one. This one's going to have a lot of film tied to it, a few slides that have some good information on them and a couple graphics. So if you are listening on podcast, also check out the link for YouTube in the show notes. Today, I have the opportunity to interview and listen to Coach Jon Pedersen, who actually is my dad. And he's been on the BTS podcast before. This time, he's talking more football. His presentation title is Central Decatur Football Power Offense for Small Guys. And one of the things that you'll find at a small school, most people know this, is size isn't always a thing that you have. So he's talking about how he does his game planning, his scheme for his dudes at Central Decatur. This one's a fun one for me. Anytime I get to interview my dad, it's pretty cool just because I get to see what he's doing now in his world and actually with my brother still too. So please welcome Coach Pedersen to the show.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah. If you want to take it away with your intro there and right into your stuff, we're ready to roll.
That's awesome. First of all, I'd like to thank Big Time Strength for inviting me to speak. Anytime we get a chance to share views and ideas, it's always a great thing. And you always talk about football coaches being the people who steal the most stuff, and I think that's true. But whenever you do that, you have to morph it into your own program, and I think that's probably the really fun part for me. A little bit about Central Decatur. If you look off the picture to the left, 4 or 5 years ago, this is what our field looked like. We had a really nice press box that our community members built for us, and the rest of the field was on top of a hill and was pretty nasty most of the time, and then we were really blessed just recently, the last 3 or 4 years, to have a new stadium like this. A little bit about that stadium. We have to thank a very progressive administration. We can't thank them enough for what they have done to give our kids an opportunity to be the best that they can be. And we have a community that supports us and does a great job with that too, but we're a pretty conservative community. So it took our progressive administration to maybe get us to this point. We're a large A, small 1A. We've actually in the years past always been a 1A school. We usually have 50 to 60 students in a class. This last year, we only had 30 in our senior class. That's why we were able to get down to the A level. But for the most part, we're going to have 30 to 35 players out. That's down a little bit. It used to be more around 40 to 45, but now we're 30 to 35. And of those 30 to 35, 15 to 18 are varsity capable. Now that includes all special teams and everything that we go with that. So the dudes who are really on the field for the offensive and defensive side of things is probably going to be more like 12 to 14. But that average is about 7 to 10 players in a class. And within our community, we have 65 to 70% free and reduced lunch. We're a very proud community, but we don't have a lot of money. And I think this is not unique anymore. It's unique maybe from when I was in school to now. We are definitely a rural community, but with being a rural community, we really don't have a lot of farm kids. So, we miss out on that work ethic and things that our farm kids have always brought to our program. But we try to go about that a little bit different, and our kids do a good job of buying in with what we're doing. Last year, kind of into what our title was with power football with small guys. There's a reason why we go with that, because last year, for example, we had 4 kids over 200 pounds. 2 of those kids had never played football before. I guess one of them had started as a sophomore, and one of them came out for the first time as a junior, and one of them played quarterback. So we're talking 3 of the 4 kids have, two of them didn't have a lot of experience, and one of them was going to have his hands on the ball and not going to be blocking or doing things like that. So as we look into the future here, this is I kind of broke down what our size is going to be next year. We're going to have 9 kids between 110. I think I'm being lenient on the 110. He might be more like 105, but 110 to 139 pound class size there. We're kind of like a wrestling team. We got about 9 of those, and we got about 13 of them that are going to be deep, that what we consider to be a medium-sized kid, which is 140 to 165 pound kid. We got 9 of them that'll be 166 to 185, and actually just looking through the notes there, and of those 9, 4 of those are going to be freshmen. So we're really only about 5 of them that are that, and then we got 3 of them that we consider to be a big kid, and that's a kid that weighs over 186 pounds, which, that's not uncommon for a small school. I do think it's uncommon to be able to play that. If you look at our district, though, when we're going to be playing Pella Christian, I-35, Mount Air, Pleasantville, and Colfax Mingo, those are all schools that have a pretty good football tradition, that have had a lot of success in the past. In years past, you can also throw Van Meter into, and Woodward Granger as 2 teams that are in our district. Panorama is another one that's in our district a lot. Those are pretty solid teams that, it's a challenge for us to play with them physically at times. So with that in mind, over the years, we've adopted a spread type philosophy. I'm going to talk specifically a little bit about last year and how that thing kind of played out, and the changes that we had to make throughout the year. We started the year out as being a spread team. The reason we've always loved that is because we were able to isolate our best players in space. Kind of like, I coach football, basketball, and track, and I think a lot of those things have correlations between them, and we always felt like if we could get our players in space, we could make the football game a little bit like the basketball side of things. And we always enjoyed that, and we felt like it allowed us to compete against some physically superior teams. And, we were able to usually find matchups that we were able to take advantage of. But as we got into last year, and in other years too, we've dealt with this. We really felt like it was tough to manage our matchup problems on the O-line. Sometimes the size problem it just happens, guys. When you're talking about a 140-pound kid going against a 220-pound kid, a 140 kid might have all the heart in the world, but it's still a matchup problem. That 220-pound kid is still going to be difficult for us to handle. So we also found it was tough to get the ball in the playmaker's hands at times. What I mean by that is our best player was our QB last year. So we got in his hands every time, but to run a really effective spread offense, you're going to have to move the ball and have to get it out of his hands and into somebody else's hands in space. And our consistency for that was not where it needed to be. He got banged up a little bit, so the run game kind of got taken out of the equation for 3 or 4 games. And he had a cannon for an arm, but I wouldn't say that being overly accurate all the time was his forte. And then you throw on top of it, we got to catch the darn thing. The old philosophy that when you throw the ball, 2 or 3 things can go wrong every time you throw it. I've never bought into that philosophy, but the older I get, it is somewhat true. Although I still think a passing game is a very, very valuable tool. Consistency for us was tough to maintain for a couple reasons. One is it's really tough to simulate in practice with our numbers, exactly what we're going to see and the talent level that we're going to see at that. And also injuries. If we had an injury, it was going to affect not just that one position. A lot of times it was going to affect 2 to 3 positions, because you're going to have to move some, like last year when our QB went down for a little bit, our second best receiver had to move to QB, and that takes us, and then we're putting a freshman kid in to play for him at receiver, and those things just happen. And sometimes for us, sometimes that even means moving linemen to running backs and running backs to linemen and all those kind of things. So it's pretty interesting. a chess match, but it's something we enjoy doing it, but it's something that we struggled with. So about the fourth game of the year, coming off of the third game of the year was probably one of our most disappointing efforts of the year. Things didn't go our way. And about the first half of this game, we really felt like we had done a lot of good things, but we'd shot ourselves in the foot. We had a pick six, we had some drop balls, we had some things that were frustrating us. And at halftime, we kind of got on our kids pretty strong, and our kids kind of responded pretty well. And we decided, we were just going to play power football. And it had always been in our arsenal, because one of the things we'd always believed in is having a lot of formations with very few plays. And so it had always kind of been there, but it had never been necessarily, or for this year anyway, a main part of it. And we kind of went to it more out of frustration than anything. And what we found was something pretty special. Some things that we found, it still put the ball in the best player's hands every time now. Instead of getting rid of the ball, he was going to be running it. Can match your best versus their best. So we went from being static in our line, where our line was only on one side, to flipping our line, and always having our best guys against their best guys. It was really easy to teach. It matched what our defensive philosophy was. We're a gap-controlled defense that's going to try to control all gaps and be physical wherever we're at, which is really basically what we're trying to do with the power offense. I found as a play caller, I've always been a guy who had 15, 25 plays to start the game out. And, you can set those plays up and things are great for those first 15 to 25. But I always felt as we got out of that sometimes I caught myself just calling plays, and I don't think that's the best way to be effective. I think that the power offense really lends itself to layer plays really, really easily. And along with that, as we grew into this thing and from game 4 to 9, we figured out that a few audibles really made a huge difference for us. And it always put us in the right situation. And they were really, really simple for our kids to understand. We could go from run to pass, or pass to run. And when you had those 3 different looks, and it's just a numbers game. And it's something that we found as we went along that really made us difficult to guard. It involves all kids who don't mind getting their nose dirty. Okay, we don't have to worry about size. We don't have to, try to force that 225-pound kid who's a great kid, but maybe can't move as well as we want to on the field, because, what we're trying to do is we're getting in front of you. And when we get in front of you, we're not worried about blowing you up. We're worried about occupying you. And when we occupy you and we're aggressive with it, I can play that 120-pound kid. I can play that 145 to 160-pound kid and feel like we can be really, really explosive with it. We're going to watch some film here. And as a football coach, one of the things I'm most proud of is you're going to see our kids are aggressive. Our kids are not willing, they won't back down, and we get a hat on a hat. There are very few times are we wrong in that. I'll point out a few times when we maybe put 2 hats on one guy that we didn't need to, but we're really aggressive with that. It does condense the D, which, is a little opposite of what we've always felt was important. We always wanted to spread the field with the spread offense, but what we really found was when we condensed the D and with our play calls, we still made them defend the whole field. It actually made the field bigger for us. When we got into our passing game, our reads for our QB was easier. You really only had to look at one guy, and we literally could know where we were throwing the ball before the ball was snapped. And that's not the way it was in the spread offense. Preston can attest to this. When he was playing quarterback for me, he had 2 or 3 different reads that he was supposed to be looking at. And that's, as a high school kid, that's not always easy to do. So what we've kind of found is it's simplified our passing game, and which is a benefit. If I can control my computer here. Off of this, we there are three main plays that we look at in our run game. Now, we have a lot more than that. Not a lot more. We have a few more plays than this, but these are the three that we're going to talk about today. These are the ones that we start with. These are the ones that most of our counters, or most of our audibles, I should say, are based off of these three plays, and we'll look at what we're wanting each player to do and what type of player we want in all the positions. Which brings us to our personnel. Our play side tackle has got to be our best lineman. That's our dude. That's the guy that we're going to hinge. If we're successful, it's when he's successful. And, you know, even in years that I've struggled having really effective lines, I've always had one or two guys that have been really, really good. So even in a small school situation, you can always find one guy that's a really good lineman. And we're going to put him at our play side tackle. Our play side guard, he doesn't have to have great feet. He can be a masher. We need him to be physical, but a lot of times he's going to have a guy right down on top of him, or it's going to be a real quick down block. So we can put a real physical kid there. Our center needs to be reliable and smart. And look back over the years, and you know, for like the last 15 years, 11 of those years, we have had a kid playing center that was actually a running back when he was in junior high, or maybe even up to freshman, sophomore year, he was a running back. And a kid that had his hands on the ball and was used to having that there, was also reliable and smart. Maybe, well, in fact, a couple of them, one of them for sure ended up being one of the best players I ever had as a running back, and he played center for me for the first 2 years. And that's one great thing that we have within our program, is our kids are willing to play anywhere, and you're going to see that on film, and I'll point that out a couple of times, at what makes a great team, and it's kind of fun to see our kids sacrifice for each other. Off that soapbox, our backside guard is a physical hole plugger. He's basically got one job. His job is, when we're running this power offense, if we can close down the backside A from blitzes or penetration from that backside A, we're going to be successful. And so he's really got one job, and he's going to have to do that job over and over and be successful at it. A backside tackle is really a guy with great feet, because he's going to block in space a lot. He's going to down block a lot. He's going to get to linebackers a lot. He's also going to hinge block, which to us means he's going to drive one direction, make sure there's nobody coming, and then he's going to hinge back. And we're not blocking that defensive end on the backside. If we're going left, we're not blocking the backside defensive end very much. If we do, it's going to be a late block that's just keeping him wider, because we figure we're going to be fast enough to the hole not to. So we got to have a kid that can do that hinge block for us. Then you get into our F and Y, which we honestly feel like our F and Y are just extension of our line. We don't feel like we play with 5 linemen, we play with 7 of them. Our F is a lot like our backside tackle in this particular thing. He's got to have good feet. He's got to be hard-nosed. Got to play behind his pads, because when we get into our counter look, you'll see that he's the guy who actually is pulling for us. So he's kind of like a pulling guard type guy who will get his hands on the ball every once in a great while. So our Y guy is probably our least physical blocker, but he might be one of our best receiver blockers. And he's got to be good at blocking in space and being aggressive while he's doing that. If I had you guys in front of me, this is where I'd be. If you guys had any questions, I'd ask. But we'll kind of move forward here. We'll give you a look versus a 4-4. We started the year, when we first started running this, and you're going to see some film clips here where they had 2 safeties, so they were actually playing with 7 in the box. And that didn't work very well for him. We found a lot of success with 7 in the box. So as the year wore on, we saw more and more 8 and then 9 in the box. So that's what I'm going to focus on, because I think if you really run this power offense right, that's what you're going to see, which I think is a benefit, because you know what your matchups are going to be. You're dictating to the defense kind of what they're going to have to be in, which is always fun as an offensive play caller. So We look at this 4-4. Couple things here. Again, we'll start on the O-line. Well, first of all, we can start out the receivers. This is like a cover 3 look. Most 4-4s are in our league anyway is going to be a cover 3 look. Well, that pretty much puts these guys on an island. Okay, we're going to put them out wide enough that they're going to have one-on-one matchups. So the riverboat gambler in me is still going to try to take chances on that. We're still going to throw the ball because now I've got matchups. As far as the line's concerned, this is our play side tackle right here. You see that in this situation, his general rule is if anything is head up or to the outside of him, he's going to down block. If they're to the inside of him, he's going to obviously down block to that. But you're going to see on film where we actually make a couple of adjustments on that as we go. But, you know, he can't let anybody cross his face. But we'll get to that as we get to film. This is our masher guy. That's a lot of times teams played 4-4, so he's going to have the guy right in front of him. His whole thing is he wants to step to the left in this example. He wants to step this way to make this guy at least come around the outside edge. We don't want penetration here, although if it does happen and we read it, we can take advantage of that also. But that's what his first step is, to the left off of this. The center, what I said, has got to be smart. He'll either sometimes come over and help on this side, or he'll be on the right side. He's our one swing guy. In this example, what we've kind of dictated to since we run this direction, we're going to see this 3-tech a lot over on the play side, and we're going to get the A-gap shade on the back side, so that we know that. So a majority of the time he's going to go backside, but sometimes when they go, like I'll show you in a 5-3, sometimes he's going to have to go to the strong side. But he does hit this guy if need be, but if this guy's flowing pretty hard, he needs to worry about this linebacker more than he needs to worry about this D tackle. So I show that he is going to here, but a lot of times he's not going to go to here. He's going to go straight to this backer. Backside guy, you know, they can have whatever they want over here, guys. They can have 4 or 5 guys over here. We're not necessarily blocking these guys man-to-man. We're blocking an area. We're stepping hard to the left in this example. We're going to try to close down this A gap. We're stepping hard. We're trying to close down this B gap. We don't want any penetration coming off of here. If these guys get around us to the outside, you know, if we can't get to where we want to be snapping the ball and starting the play going this direction, we got a problem. I'm going to have to change who's running the ball at that point. So we really try to slam this backside down, make them go around if they're going to go anywhere. Okay. If we go to a 5-3 look, you know, it's the same thing on that backside. You look in that backside, and they're doing the exact same thing. Like I said, we don't care how many people are over here. Our center now is going to have to be playing play side, because he's going to have the most likely the shade of the nose is going to be to the side that we line up on. So this is going to be a hard gap. We'll play games. We'll mess around with this a little bit. Sometimes it's going to be a guard center to this linebacker, and this guy's going to be one-on-one, because we told you that our tackle was our best dude. So if we're having troubles with this, we'll just make that adjustment, and now he's going to down block to this guy, and we're going to double these 2 guys to the linebacker. But if we can handle the nose guard with our center, we absolutely love this, because now these 2 guys doubling on a down here to this backer gives them plenty of, this backer starts scraping, gives them plenty of time to react to that and get there and never be late. So this is our best case scenario right here. I didn't show you on the last slide, but on this slide, it's basically the same. We're going to have one-on-one matchups with our F and Y. We're not going to block the defensive end, which is with our linemen, I should say. We are going to block them, but not our linemen. It's going to be with our F or our Y, depending on scout for that particular week. We're also going to match up on a linebacker right here, and then our T-back should go through, and you'll see some. When we first started this, he was heading outside a little bit too much, but as we figured that out, as we moved along, we put another kid back here that was a little bit more aggressive and was going through the middle of the hole a lot more. It's also almost turned into a lead type thing within our power. The really nice thing about this is these guys are fluid. They can move anywhere they need to get the best position that they need to be in to make the block that they're setting up for. It also allows us to scout and kind of know who their stud is, you know, and what matchups we want. I mean, if this guy is really, really good, it might be a better angle for us to take the Y and slam him down and try to force him in here and run a little bit wider. If it's a situation we feel like our F, who actually, as the year wore on, was our tackle and moved back to F because we liked him back here. So we had a lineman back here. If he could handle that defensive end, that made life pretty well for him. Then our Y, all he had to do was mirror this linebacker, whether we went inside or out. It meant that's where he was going. Then our T could be aggressive to the hole. One of the things you'll see is sometimes we blocked out here and sometimes we just ran patterns. Guys, if we run fades and they're in a cover 3, what do these two guys have to do? They have to go back. If they don't go back, then we've got a guy 15 yards wide open over here, and we're going to see that. And we're going to eventually take advantage of that. So sometimes our best block was a pass play, but we also tried to be physical on the outside, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward. So as we had a little bit of success with it, then they started bringing that safety down and making it more of a 9-man front. Sometimes they, rotate a linebacker up to make it a 5, and it's kind of what I'm showing here. If you look at it, nothing's changed for us. Really the only change is now, since they brought these 4 linebackers in here like this, is our guard center now are running the double team to the backside, and we're picking up, instead of this guy having to go clear to the safety, we're picking up a linebacker with our T back, and the backside still does the exact same thing. Our receivers are doing the back same thing. So our practice time is not real difficult because we're kind of dictating what the defense is going to be in. So we only have to show a couple things to our kids, and we have a few adjustments that we're going to work on, and I'll show you in film. But that's pretty simple, and that's something that our kids can perfect. And I think every coach agrees that if you can perfect a few plays, you're probably going to be more successful. So we'll get right into some of our plays here. I'm going to try to begin with, kind of break down, again, roles for each one of them as we're breaking through and show you what we did right and wrong. And then as we progress forward, maybe I won't talk about each one of those, but I will talk about specific things for each play. This is against Panorama. Panorama was one of the better teams in 1A last year. This is the team. This is when we first started this. This is when we knew that we were just could play with these teams, this team physically, but we made a bunch of mistakes in the first half and we were mad, so we came out in our power. This is the second half, and found out that we actually found something that we can be successful with. He did get a little bit more healthy, so he's able to run a little bit better right here. But so our power is going to be on this side. What we should be seeing, notice they got a defensive end outside of him, so he should be slamming down. We also should be having a down step right here. So these two guys should be working together. He should probably be going clear back to this backside linebacker. There's nobody on the inside. If this referee was a player, then he'd be going here, but he's not. So he can come clear over to here. We should be stepping hard. And you see that we're not going to be real good at that to begin with. But as the year went on, we tried to get a little bit better at it. Our F back here would now have the defensive end. Our 23 at this point has an outside linebacker. So they're playing a 3-4 scheme right here. So he's just going to be able to step right to this guy. And then this tailback should go through to right here. Again, this is kind of the infant stages for us on being proficient at that. And I'm not sure we always got that done, but let's go ahead and run it. So one of the things that I really like about this is you notice that short of our little T back in the back here, every one of us, we are hat on a hat and we are aggressive. And I really love that about our kids. as we go forward here. Notice 71 does a really nice job of down blocking. I would like to see this guard right here slam to the center a lot harder than that, and even widen this hole even further. Our QB does a really nice job of starting out in this direction, because this is obviously where we want to run the ball. He presses that hole pretty well. There's nothing there, and then he's just able to keep working. And you know, if you've got a hat on a hat and you keep fighting, then that backside has a chance to be an open. So even though this play looks like it was set up to go to the right for us right here, nobody really did anything wrong. Did you notice we don't blow anybody up? We're going to run them sideways. We really feel like even if I'm a big, strong guy and I come at you straight on, you're going to be able to negate me. But if I hit you on the side, no matter how big you are, I can make you move. And that's, so our action, we're going to try to see action going sideways on the line. We're not going to see action going straight forward. Is that a perfect world? Probably not. But that's kind of who we are, and that's what we're going to try to get to. So I get a little crazy with my cursor every once in a while. Let's go ahead and go to the next play and see what it looks like. So now we're over on the left side. Okay, so 71 has a guy on the inside of him, so that's a really easy down block for him. Okay, our guard doesn't have anybody over the top of him, so he knows that he's going to go inside with our center at that point. So they're going to double team that guy, and they should be double teaming. They should be double teaming to a linebacker that's sitting right over here. Oh, what'd I do? The backside should be fighting in. Now, what I want to show about this one is that this guy turns him out. This guy's got him in a neutral position, but you notice he's got his shoulders over on the outside of this guy. What our QB right here should be, he's got two lanes that I think he should be looking at right now. Now, but this lane, this guy's on this, basically in this hole because of how he's set up. So what I want him to do is I want him to take a hard step to that hole and then dart right back into this hole. When he does that, he's going to have a one-on-one block with basically nobody on the backside. If we can get this block to this guy, which I'm not sure we quite get that done, then he's got this whole field. This should be a touchdown in my mind. But what happens as we roll this forward is that he doesn't press that hole. See that hole, guys? I mean, that hole is a pretty good sized hole. That's something that we need to dart through right here. If he gets through that hole, he's going to get 5 to 6 yards. If we're going to get 5 to 6 yards, then we should be really very happy with that. He gets impatient with it. He pops it to the outside, you know, which we still get 5 or 6 yards. And, you know, it's not a bad play by any stretch of the imagination, but I really feel like we missed an opportunity for a chunk play right here. I think that was set up. You look at that, this guy, there's no way this guy's getting to the inside. This guy's got him totally to the inside here. This guy's to the outside. If he just sets that up with the run right here and pops here, he got a huge play.
And we talked about this a little bit the last time you brought me through it, but that tailback should be popping up through and taking the safety. So that would make it even cleaner read instead of number 2 running to the outside there. So
yeah, you're exactly right. And that's something that we got better and better at. If that running back's going to get through there, though, he's going to have to hit it like he's got the ball. Man, he's got to hit that thing hard and get through there. If he goes slow through there, he just clogged it up. And so you're exactly right in that, because this guy really is not paying attention to number 2. He's looking only at the QB. So if we could get number 2 through this hole and wall this guy off, then for sure there's nobody back there. There's not another person to block. So good point, Preston. Okay, this is a really nice job. This is on a goal line situation. I'm really happy for where we go with that. Notice we get down block there with our our center with our guard and center. 71, there's nobody over the top of him. He releases right to the linebacker, which is a great job by him. I really like how neutral we are with our two running backs right here. Maybe our fullback gets his butt to the inside just a little bit, but I really like how we're neutral. We're straight up on these guys. We're allowing our running back, our QB in this situation to go left or right, and then whichever way they choose, we're just going to run with them. And we do a good job with that. But that allows us to pop, and this is a little bit different. In this situation, there's not a hole here. There's no place for him to go. So he does need to pop it out into this hole right here. And I'd really like this number 2 kid to be really aggressive coming through here. He does a good job of picking him up. We do a really bad job of blocking as a receiver on the outside, but it didn't matter because we were close enough that he was, all I had to do was kind of dive to the end zone. Notice I haven't said much about our backside. Our center does a really nice job. That's a really good job by him. Our guard and tackle on the backside, we tried to get better as we went along. I don't like their step right there. I think their step should be squeezing over here, but that's more my fault. Like I said, we had this in our offense, but we hadn't spent as much time as what we obviously did later on. But this was a pretty good job. Okay. I think on this one, what I really wanted to show was how hard he pressed the hole. And when he pressed that hole, we didn't block everything perfect. Like our two backs right here are supposed to match up on these guys, and 22 didn't hit a soul off of this. But because we did a good job pressing that hole, and because we were aggressive on the back, look at my center right there. I'm proud of that. He was a all-district kid right there, and there's a reason for it. We pressed the hole, and we're really aggressive on the backside, allowed that hole to open up. And,
can you slow that down a little bit?
Yeah. I thought maybe you guys were getting tired of my fast forwards or my slow motion stuff. So I went into, we call that Gilbert mode at our in our school. I got assistant coach that will replay the play 20 times. There we go. So as we step into this, I don't like how this guy's shoulders are turned this much. I'd really like him to be straight up on him. Pre-snap, this guy should be mirroring this linebacker right here. This is who he should be going to get. And as that guy, he gets confused. That guy kind of steps down into the hole. If he steps down into the hole, he should have went to the hole himself. Think what would have happened if he would have went to the hole himself right here, and this guy kicks this guy out. We wouldn't have had to go backside, even though you can see this backside's wide open. There would have been a hole right here. And this is where he was pressing the hole, and this is where we wanted to go to begin with. But because of this little cup right here where there wasn't anything, and he went hard this direction, he was able to just start scanning his eyes back this direction and getting back to the backside. So your QB can make your lineman right sometimes, because we did not necessarily block this extremely well, but we did. It was still a pretty successful play for us. When I was raving on my center right here, he's going for this guy. He's supposed to help with this guy since he's in the gap. Then he's going to come to here. He does take a kind of a false step towards that guy, but he doesn't spend much time with him. See how he throws that arm out there? There's no pressure on that arm. He knows he's released, and he goes really aggressive. He goes and gets that guy. He thought the play was going to the left. He had no idea this play was going to come back to the right, but he was going to go get a hat on that guy. If you get a hat on that guy, then hopefully our running back's going to be able to break that tackle if that guy gets a thing with. But he was really aggressive with it and opened that hole up. I mean, that hole was made because our center did a great job. Okay, this one's just for me. Sometimes I concentrate way too much on this. but you're going to watch this play, guys, and man, we do a nice job all the way through this. I must have, wait a minute, fellas. I got to have my fun here. I missed a play. Where'd it go? Oh, no. I took it out. Here we go. I'm sorry. I kind of messed that up. I want to show this, though. Boy, I jumped through a lot, Preston. How'd that happen?
I might have mixed up the order.
Oh, when you went, here it is. This is the play I wanted. So, guys, we blocked this exactly right. Sorry about that little mix-up. See how our guys were matched up, and he really could have hit a hole right here. Okay, but I'm not even going to give my QB a hard time on this one. What I want to give a hard time on this one, and which you should never do, you should be bigger and better than this, is I want you to watch. I haven't said this little fella's done a great job for us yet, although he ends up being he's a really good receiver blocker for us. And you'll see this out in space. Watch this block. Boom, 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 running his feet, hands inside, and he gets a flag. And I put my hand, I can't believe it, and I'm going to high-five that kid, because that, fellas, is what I want for a receiver to block. That is a great block right there. And that's just my little soapbox here. I don't understand how you can block that any better. His hands are in the inside. He's running with the kid, and he gets a penalty for it. Man, that's frustrating. Anyway, on to another thing, fellas. I just wanted to throw that out there. This is a good job again, on a cutback. He did a nice job of matching up with people. He didn't feel comfortable heading to the left. We worked really hard on the backside, and I'm going to watch 71 on this, guys. Did he mash him? Did he kill him? No. Did he stay on? Was he a little bit high? Yeah, he probably was a little bit high, but I tell you what, the kid is a mauler. The kid will stay on you the whole time. I really like. That's against a pretty good team. And then the end of the run was kind of fun too.
Coach, one of the things I'm seeing a lot is if from a lineman's perspective, if you can get engaged with somebody and just stay on that block, I mean, it's going to come open either on the front side or the cutback there. I think that's such a big deal.
And it doesn't have to be a blow-up block. You don't see us pancaking a lot of guys. That's not, if we can pancake them, that's awesome. And I'm not saying don't do that. But my guys are right now, if I rewind this, I'll kind of tell you what they are from last year. This is 195, and 71 is a 195-pound kid. He's the best guy we got. Our guard right here is a 225-pound kid. He's the biggest kid we got. Great effort kid. Doesn't have great feet, but he's going to do what we ask him to do. He's the biggest dude we got. Our center right here is 180-pound, and he really had to work his butt to get to 180 pound. He's not a very big kid. This kid's 165 pounds. This kid's 160 pounds. We're not big. But in the backfield right here, this kid's 160 pounds, and this kid's 165 pounds. So we're not going to pancake you. But what I'm really proud of when I watch this stuff is our kids get into you and they stay on you. Like, you look at this block right here, that's just solid block. He's got his head to the side. He's not using his head in his block. And he looks at that, he keeps running. He keeps going with him. And that is when we're pretty happy with things. Now, this is actually another team. So we've had a week to work on this. And this is a coaching point right here. This young man right here is supposed to step down right inside here. Instead, what he does is a really beautiful tunnel block. We're running a tunnel to our receiver and he's trying to get out to the linebacker out here. He did a great job with this, but he didn't do such a great job on what he was supposed to do here. But anyway, it still opened up for us. That's the other part of it, guys, is the backside. If we can control that A gap, it's so important. But really, it's the front side that makes the hay. Everything is going to be based off that front side. So if you got some dudes that that need a little bit of help on the line, that maybe are matchup problems every once in a while, this offense really helps you out. They are a little messed up on our thing. So this is blocked extremely well. I like to show this one. Then we'll go on to our next plays here. But watch 71 right here does a nice job of blocking. So we've got a linebacker right here that this guy should be going to, and he should be going to a defensive end. So we actually shouldn't be having a cross going right here. He does eventually get to him. He goes through the line and picks him up on the outside, which works because we had enough traffic here. This guy was going to have to scrape over the top. I don't know if he read that or if he got lucky, but he did a good job with that. We are aggressive right here. We do actually put a kid on his tail. And then really good blocking on the outside by our receiver. This is a kid that didn't play until his senior year that just wanted to be part of the team and bought in really fast. That's a pretty good job, guys. Space blocking, you're supposed to break down before you get to the receiver. If you watch number 10 out here, breaks down, makes contact, runs his feet, goes with him until we're by him. Those are things that as a coaching point, he would have been praised in film for that. Which we do watch a lot of film, guys. We are a film team. We can't be overly physical because we don't have very many dudes. So what we're doing right here with you is what we're going to do with our kids over and over and over again. This is another one that I think could have been thrown back up inside right here. Look where this guy's leaning. I like this step. I like him to press this hole like it's going to the outside. And then if he'd put his foot in the ground and head right back up in this, I think that's a touchdown. Instead, it ends up being a decent play, one that he thinks was a great play because he hit the guy down at the end of the game, into the play, and I look at it and I think he should have been in the end zone. But and this is the last one of these plays. So in this one, let's rewind it here just a little bit. See how we match up on things. Now, what they did, this guy, if you notice, the defensive end was head up on 71. So 71 should be going down inside right here. It should be a release step to right here. But as the play starts, that guy knifes and crosses his face. Our rule, anybody crosses your face, you have to hit him. Okay, so now our responsibilities change. This guy back here, this linebacker right here, his responsibility needs to be actually this linebacker right here. And this guy should have this defensive end. So this guy should come here. This guy should come here. This guy comes across his face. So now our tackle takes him. Well, that changes his responsibility. Now he's going to take over the tackle's responsibility. Now this guy who was going to hit the end should go to the linebacker right here. So we just switched that. And that's something that's really easy to work in practice. You just throw it in there every once in a while where this guy runs and slams to the inside. Tackle feels that. This guy is being aggressive. All of a sudden he sees his guy is covered up by our tackle. He's just going to keep right on rolling and should go to this next linebacker and see if he does his job. Maybe not as fast as what he wants to. This is the guy he should go to. And he didn't necessarily do it, but do you see that, how that works together? This guy came across. If he comes right down into this hole right here, he's going to run right into this linebacker. We're still matched up on the outside, and our tailback does a really nice job of hitting the outside backer on this one, which was what our scout was for that week. And then he was off to the races from there. Okay. Again, if you have any questions about how we do that, please give me at the end. I'll throw up my email and stuff, and I'd love to talk to you about it. Our next play is our counter play. When we first started doing this, we ran these two plays separately. These two plays was, we had the power play, we had our counter play. And as we got into it, we realized that these needed to be the audible. So this is our number one audible. I'll even tell you what our audible is because it doesn't matter. We use the old Peyton Manning Omaha, and we come up the line of scrimmage and we run. You hear us calling Omaha, that we're switching the play. I can tell you that with a lot of confidence, though, because you don't know which way we're switching from. So, before we're hitting a power over here. And now if you remember, these two guys were down blocking hard, stepping hard right here. Well, this look actually looks very, very similar to what they were doing before, okay? And when we were a four-man line, our center was coming on the backside, so he's not worried. He's going to be a little bit heavier to this defensive tackle and then release. In fact, if he can take this tackle over and this guard get to this linebacker, that's the best situation we have. That doesn't always work that way. If he's really hedged out just a little bit here, it's going to be more of a down block, and this guy's just going to go to the linebacker. But we're going to release, and this is something that we struggled with at the beginning. We kept wanting to go to this linebacker, but we want to get that down block into the inside linebacker because now we're stepping just like we did on the backside. Before, we're stepping to the inside and cutting off any penetration on the A. And now our two running backs are going to kick out and wrap for this. This is basically a one-on-one block. This Y has got a one-on-one block with the linebacker over here. And I'll show you on film. I'll show you on film that something going on here, Preston. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So he's looking over here, which he shouldn't be. We're running a play. He should be looking over here, but his eyes come over here, so we'll work on that. But and this guy we can give the ball to T. If they slam everything down to the inside, we'll give the ball to T because we feel confident that we've got, a one-on-one out here that he's going to have. This guy's still going to be here, but we'll have a cutback. But what ends up happening is Q ends up taking the ball a lot. It's a numbers game, guys. If you're going to have 4 or less, then sometimes there's only 3 guys over on here. Sometimes this guy is getting head up on our center. But if there's going to be 4 or less, we can run this play because we've got it blocked. If we're going to load up, 6 guys over here, that means that, and we've got 2 guys out here. It's a numbers game. Eventually, you're going to run out of numbers, and we're just going to run the opposite play. That's really nice as a play caller, where I literally got to where I would call the same play over and over, and I'd mix it up just so that our Omaha made sense. But and our QB called the play at the line of scrimmage, and all it was counting. And it got to be really, really, the kids really enjoyed that. They liked the game inside the game type look. On our 5-3, again, we're set up to run the ball to the left. So people are going to kind of shade over this way. The 5-3 actually is better for us to run the counter on the backside because now our double teams are a little bit different. But most likely this nose guard is coming into this A gap anyway because we've been running to the left hard. So he doesn't like that. He doesn't like his coach yelling at him. Why isn't he on that backside? So now we've got an easy down block. These 2 guys can double team to this linebacker. We kick this end, and we got a wrap block to this linebacker here. You're going to do a 9-man line. It does make us most likely have a one-on-one block as opposed to a double to this backer. But again, we've ran enough this way. Chances are this kid is going to try to get to this A gap. If he tries to go to the outside, he's too late on our power run anyway. So he's trying to get to this A gap, which makes this down block that much easier for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so here we'll show you what it looks like. Slow it down a little bit for you. So we're set up looking like we're running this way. If you notice what they got, this is Lindo Sully. What have they done? I mean, we've been running here, here, here. This safety that was back here, or this linebacker that was back here, I should say, is now closer to the line. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, and they're set to the outside here. They got 1, 2, 3 on the backside.
And for some reason, bracketing the wide receiver.
And they're, yeah. Well, in their defense, we didn't. Well, maybe this is Panorama. I'm sorry, this is Panorama. So we were a throwing team before that, so that made sense. You know, they didn't adjust as the second half went on, but you're exactly right. There's 2 receivers out here, or I can't see it because of our, maybe I should move this box so maybe I can see what you're seeing. But yeah, they got 2 guys out here, and this guy's good, but if you're going to double team him, you know, thank you. We just got more guys in the box than what you got. So, so we look at this. Now these guys are hard down blocks right here. This kid, I told you, this F back is pretty much like a pulling guard who gets the ball every once in a great while on our offense, not a lot. We hope it's for touchdowns when he does. But he's going to come across and block this defensive end. This guy should wrap through and get this one linebacker that's left over here. Now, in all honesty, what should actually happen, I back up on that. If we down block this guy should get, this tackle should get this linebacker, and we should have an easy block right here. We should get this in, and this guy's actually going for this outside guy. Let's see how it works here. Well, see, that stopped because this guy took an inside lane. So I thought our tackle was actually going to block it wrong, but he actually blocked it right. Did a nice job right here because he's thinking linebacker, but this guy, his first step wasn't tremendous, but false step allowed this guy to get to the inside. So he went ahead and took him. And as he took him, then we were able to kick that guy out. And then 22 should come around the corner. He kind of got all messed up in there. But our 23, our T-back, realized he wasn't getting the ball quick. And he went ahead and blocked, which is what he's taught to do. Okay. And this is when we know that blocking is important to your kids. I want you to show, I'm going to show the end of plays a couple times here. 23 does a nice job of blocking this. And I'm really proud of him. This is what I like the most. You see 75 come up and talk to him? Guys, this gives me chill. This is what football's about. 75 didn't run to 12. 12 did his job. 12 got in the end zone. Congratulations, 12. A bunch of other kids did run to him. Congratulate him. Who'd 75 go to? You sprung the block, baby. Nice job. That's football, baby. That's when I get excited. That's when I get wound up, when I start seeing stuff like that. All right, so we're sitting here. This is against Martinsdale St. Mary's. They got a couple really big dudes at their tackles that were kind of messing with us just a little bit. And so sorry guys. So we should have a down block hard right here. Since he is a big guy, we should probably double team him and still be able to get to this backer. But he's to the inside. And let's roll the play. We block that really well. Our tackle over here should be going to this linebacker. He's not. He stays to the outside. There's a guy there. He was actually our 6th lineman. We took our lineman and put him back in the backfield, and this guy was our 6th guy, and he was still trying to learn a little bit, but he needs to come down hard right here. Then we're going to kick this guy, wrap to this guy, and this guy's going to be to the outside. He's not even going to be part of the play, but he stays there. So our running backs do a really nice job of adjusting. They didn't go like, oh, darn, what's wrong with that? They went ahead and found a hat. You know, he wrapped up into the hole, found a hat, got on somebody, and then we were able to take it to the house from there. But Preston, does that make sense how that's coming across? Can you see that well enough?
Yeah. So from run it back real quick.
Yep.
What would now be considered the play side tackle needs to down almost no matter what. If anybody comes across his face, he's picking them up. And then that guy to the outside, which
the play side tackle over here, yeah, he needs to be down and he needs to be going to this linebacker.
And then basically the guy that's playing so far out, that's out on the hash, you're not even going to include him in account at all, just because he's playing too wide.
No. And if you have a really good athlete, he might be able to bend back in and make this play. If he does that, we just got a 4-yard gain.
So roll it back to the very beginning, though. I'm just trying to do the numbers game here. So you've got an outside backer pretty far out on both sides. And then you're somewhat, the way that they're playing their defense, that safeties walk down pretty far. And then are they fairly even up? So basically, you've probably been running power a few times, thinking that they're going to slant hard that way.
Well, if we looked at power right now, this kid is going to go ahead. You know, he's a big guy, so he's kind of moving our center a little bit. But we've got 1, 2, 3. We counted him because he went clear down into the box a lot. 4, 5. They've got 5 on this side. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. So it's a 9-man box. But even with there being 4 on this side, we're saying this guy has already put himself out of the play. Unless he blitzes into this, we still feel comfortable going with it.
And they're big. Is that guy shade of the center? The big guy right there.
Yeah.
He's already slanting hard opposite anyway. It ends up being only 3 guys on that side just because he takes himself out of the play.
Right, because if you're going to get to our power, you're going to have to get through our power right here. That's why we continually tell this kid to slam down into here. So we're setting you up with our play calling of going here, here, here. Now they want to take that away. Now it just makes this counter play that much easier. And this was a big dude. This is like a 330-pound dude. This guy he's a tough dude. Anyway, so what he's trying to do, he's pressing into him and trying to get into that gap that he can. But by that time he sees that we're already there. 22 does a really nice job of reaming right here and getting through there and finding somebody. The guy he was supposed to hit wasn't there, but so he went and found somebody else. And, you know, that's a nice job by him. It's not a huge block. He just got in his way. Let's back up a little bit. Our receiver off of this doesn't know for sure where the ball, he probably should have reacted that to a little bit better, but he kind of gets in the way and he does a really nice, he knows at this point he's gone. So he does a nice job throwing his hand up after that, I guess. But that wasn't perfect, but it was effective, I guess. This one's a little bit better. This is by far our better look and what we should be doing. So you look at this, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys here. They're matched up receiver here, matched up receiver here. They've got 4 guys right here.
Which that safety is playing even up almost. So it's kind of an even right there. You could roll it whichever way you're feeling. And right now, you know, if you're hitting power as much as you are and you're overloaded to that side, you know, their mindset is it's still going to be going to what your guys' left would be.
Right. That's what they're thinking. That's what you don't want to run. It's a counter, called a counter for an option, for a reason. I mean, we don't run the counter more than we run the power. We run the power more.
Right.
We set it up with the counter, but set it up with the power and run the counter. So this guy gets destroyed. I mean, and this outside guy, they're going to slam him hard. So basically what happens is this running back blocks this outside guy. Whether he has the ball or not, this guy's going to have to be aware of him. So now he's taking care of him. So let's go back. We talk about how many they got. Let's count how many we got. We got the center, we got the guard, we've got the tackle, we've got this guy. So that's 4, and 2 guys are coming. So we got 6. So even if you had 4 or 5 over there, we still feel like we could run this play. But You notice here that he gets blown up right off the bat. This guy kind of, obviously he was going to slam in and this guy was going to play out, which is fine with us because we're kicking that guy out anyway. So it made it easier for us. Again, this time our tackle does a nice job of going to the linebacker. Boom, boom, because these two guys should have played together to this backer. This guy's going to go straight to this backer just like he did. We kick number 7 out and we ream the hole with anybody that's left. He comes around that, and that's that safety. That's that guy that you're talking about could play either direction. He did play both directions that time, and that's who we end up picking up. Boom, boom, ream. I really like how close he was. We try to work really hard on this, coming off of the butt. See how that backside guy, this backside guy he's not running in the middle of the lane. He's not running in the wide. He's trying to get as close as he can to this. That's a really nice job by him. His eyes are up, and he's just able to kick the guy out. And then, the whole key, the other key, I haven't talked a lot about it, and we do a decent job of it, is he's got to step. Our QB has to step with this. We're going to ride him because we can still give it to him. He's making a read. And it's pretty evident right now he doesn't want to give it to that guy because he's going to get smoked. So he keeps it. We didn't do a real great kick out block. I would like this guy to get to the inside shoulder of this guy and make sure that he stays to the outside. He kind of squares him up and hits him in the middle, and the guy's able to come off of that to the inside. That's not what we're looking for, but scheme was right. We just didn't quite execute it right. And then we're able to, from there, get in the end zone. Okay, so this was for the district championship, basically. And this is a pretty good defensive team. They were gonna have 5 guys they were gonna put 9 guys in the box and say, put them close to the line of scrimmage, and we know what you're doing. We're gonna stop you. And if you look over here, this guy would come off on it sometime, but they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys over here. And this guy's not playing in the middle like that last team was. This guy is clear off to the side. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back side. We have totally went to an audible system right now. So I guarantee right now we had called power, and our QB looked up and saw numbers and saw how wide they were off of those numbers and audibleized this. Do a really nice job of what is our play side tackle now. Should come to this backer. We're going to double team in the middle right here. These guys are slamming. We're going to kick this defensive end out, who is a really, really good athlete. We're going to kick him out. We're going to ream to this backer right here. So you look at the where. I'm sorry. That's a really bad job. Look where this guy's eyes are at. This guy's eyes. If I back up just a little bit, he's thinking his first step is to the power. Mm-hmm. His first step is to the power, and that allows us to get a really good down block on him. These guys may know what's going on now, but it doesn't matter because the one guy gets too high, we kick him out. That's a really quick ream. It was quicker than it was, the last time he had to go 5 to 7 yards down the field. This time this guy presented himself. So we worked really, really hard on running like a crouch and never being surprised when somebody pops to us. And we were able to catch him on that. So look at the receiver on this.
Yeah, I saw that.
Top side receiver. That's not like an unbelievable block, but that block allowed him to get all the way to the outside. Okay.
Check out the bottom side receiver. I thought that was funny.
He does a nice job of running. We went to running a route, so he ran a route. The guy kind of got his hips turned up, and then he just puts him on his butt, doesn't he? That's pretty
That's
easy.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's easy.
that's exactly what you want. And the whole thing was because he came off the line like he's going to run a pattern. Well, oh, easy block right there.
Yep.
Okay. So I laugh about this one. My son played Q for us last year, so he comes off the line. He comes to the sideline screaming after this game. He goes, "You can't play three guys on the backside. If you're going to play three guys on the backside, we're going to score touchdowns." And he was exactly right, because you look at this. This guy is in a gap right here, but I think he's going to go that way. So he was literally counting him this way. And this guy's, even if he didn't, there's still only one, two, three guys on the backside, and this guy's on the receiver. 1, 2, 3. And like I told you, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we're going to be bringing to that side fast. That all sets up because we've run power enough that they're worried about, look how many people they got over on the side. They're going to take that away. So when we come this way, easy block to the house. And this was against a 6-3 team, good team. We actually didn't have, our tailback didn't have anybody to block this time. The defensive end came up because he was worried about him. So he came up and our block out. In all honesty, we could have just let our guy who kicks out right here, if he climbs that high, if he gets above my shoulders, I maybe put an arm out, but I'd just keep right on rolling.
That's
right
what
here.
We talked about that a lot at Northwest. Is basically if they're going to go up the field that much, just turn it up and go. It really doesn't matter when you have that many guys coming. But
especially when this guy's going to our tailback here.
Right. If you're going to keep on doing that read action, a lot of times you don't even have to block that end if you're going to give the read option there anyway.
Right.
And then the other thing I'm seeing is your Y does such a great job, and you pointed this out maybe a clip or two ago, staying tight and then curling up and finding the first guy, the first dirty shirt, and that springs people and makes a bigger window every time.
Yeah.
So he's the second puller, right? That's what you guys call.
He's the second. That's we call him Y.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see how close he is on that, and then it just sets it up. It's such an easy block for him now. He's already to the inside of this guy. All he has to do is hook him. And he doesn't, it's not a knockout block. It's just a get in his way block. And we talked to him a lot about that. Now, if we were to critique this a little bit, no, that's not true either. Our tackle, look how much better this kid has got from when we first started showing this. Remember when he used to come clear out to here, this defensive end? Now he knows he's going in, and he's going to lock that Mike linebacker in. He's pushing him clear to the other side of the field. So we're making this is their outside linebacker on the opposite side of the field is going to try to get to this guy. And that's going to be pretty tough. That's about what's going to happen. He's going to go, oh, darn. He's basically done running right now. He knows it's over. Okay, one more of those. Now, I am going to give my receiver a little bit of a hard time on this one. Beginning of the game, he ran that pattern awfully hard, made this guy think that he was going to get it. And we actually threw the ball to him a few times deep, so this guy should have been going there. As soon as he saw this guy's head never see him, he should have been knocking him on his butt. Right there, he had the same opportunity to knock him on the butt again, but he didn't. You know what I think happened, in all honesty, is I don't think he heard the audible. Because we're set up, I guarantee we called power off of this and we audibleized it. I don't think he heard it now that I look at this, because there's no way he would have known the ball was coming his way. He would have been looking for a knockout block on that, because he kind of likes to do that. So, but again, look at our ream blocker. Ream blocker does a really nice job. That's our Y blocker. Boom, we kick this kid out. Matches up, pops right through the hole. Boom, boom. That's a really nice job. And then, and it all starts with these two guys that, you know, they slam to the inside over and over and over on power. That doesn't look much different than what they're doing right now. So that's really difficult for a defense to make that read. They're going to have to make a read that we're pulling our running backs. And, you know, those running backs are fast. They're not slow linemen pulling. These are running backs pulling. Boom, boom. Look where their defensive end on this side where he was going. He was going to try to run it down from the backside because he thought, you know, he thought that was going to be his best choice. He was going to go get that, and then all of a sudden he's got somebody right in his face. So, any questions about that, Preston? Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is lead. I've only got about 4 or 5 clips on lead. What we call lead, everybody's played to the outside. Everybody has got over here. They've made that adjustment. We could run counter off of this. If you look at this, that's great for counter. But every once in a while, we want to mix it up a little bit. And instead of down blocking this way with these guys, we're actually going to out block. So now this guy's getting tired of us running right here. So he's got an outside shade. We're just going to turn and wall them to the outside. Our center can get to, sometimes our center is going to take this guy. A lot of times if this guy is head up on him or backside shade, he's just going to release to the linebacker. Now we have this F back, which basically is a lineman for us again, so that we're not worried that this is a nose guard that we're going to block. He's going to go pin right in here. This guy's going to pin right here. And the key to this whole thing, and I think the first clip I'm going to show you is what 2 things that didn't happen was that we blocked the wrong guys up here. And this step to the power is really important because what's going to happen is their key is going to end up being, where's the Q going? So he takes a hard step to the left right here and goes straight up the field. Okay. So guys, it looks like we run our Q all the time. We only had 2 times this year when he ran the ball more than 20 times. One was 21 and one was 24, I think. So it's not like that's the only thing we do, but we run it enough that people know what we're going to do. 5-man line right here. Now, again, we've ran this power enough that we've got a down block off of this. Now F is going to go double team to here just to make sure this guy's taken care of. And we're still releasing to the linebacker. This T block is important because if this is a good backer, especially in a 5-3, he's going to be able to knife back to the inside. So he's got to just wall this kid off on the backside of it.
There's actually no reason you're showing all this with the quarterback. There's no reason why you can't do most of the stuff with the tailback too.
There's really not.
Go on. Sorry.
I'm sorry. You should have let you talk there. There's really not. If you have tailback, the only thing is when you do it with the Q is you get one more hat.
Yep.
But what we found was that when we ran the Q a lot, when we gave it to the T on the exact same play, he made huge yards because they were looking for Q to get the ball. And now T got the ball and running the exact same thing with one less guy, and we were making huge yards off of it.
Maybe tell them, and not totally your percentages of stuff, but like, you know, you're talking about running the quarterback a decent amount. What else are you doing within your offense to kind of spread this out more? Because you talk about the power ends up making the field wider, bigger for you. What's some of your stuff? Maybe you don't want to disclose some of that, I guess. My bad.
I was trying to keep this where, oh no, I'm just joking now. This safety ends up coming down. I'll just go to the 9-man box because this is what we're going to, whether they're in a 5-3 or 4-4, this safety, we can call this guy, he's going to get up into this box a lot. Okay. So we've got one-on-one matchups up here. Okay. And on top of that, we've got 8 guys to protect him. Okay. So we can run dumps. We can run these guys out because they're all flowing. And we can run screens and we can run all of that stuff because of the flow of the linebackers. But what we really like is these two guys are out on an island right now. Okay. And we always have a couple of receivers that are pretty good receivers. And if 8 guys can just make a cup and let him feel comfortable throwing the ball, boy, that's tough. Talk about stretching the field. And we can take them deep. We can go back shoulder. We can just run simple outs. We can run slants. Because what's this guy going to do? If he takes one step up, what's this guy going to do? He's coming forward. He knows it's power. We've ran enough power. He's coming forward. You don't think a slant or a post is wide open off of this? It's pretty exciting. I've always been, and probably to the wrong side, I've always been a throw guy to get our run going, and I'm not now. I'm really not. Even if I was in a situation where we had a ton of people, and I still would run this stuff a lot because it sets up so much of what I want to do on spread. We can burst these guys right. We can run a missile screen. We can run bubbles out of this. You know, these guys are fluid. They could be lined up here and here. Now you're in a trip situation with the defense not really being able to tell that much. If I leave my F here and I'm put my Y a step wider in A football and 1A football, they're not going to notice that much. And we can do that just to dummy it up anyway. Go ahead and go out there. You got this guy matched up. Go ahead and go out there and match up from out there and still run power. So it's not like we're keying off what we're doing. So we still throw the ball. You know, I still feel like that's a really big, important part of the game. All right, so lead. The first one I'm going to show you was a disaster. We ran it about as wrong as you could possibly run it. If you notice, they got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys outside. They got one guy inside shade of him, but basically even the safety is out wide. They're thinking we're going to run here to here. Okay, and they've got this guy is still not over the top of our center, so he's in a gap right here, and a guy outside of our tackle. So what we want to do is we want to run the ball right here. So a real simple term, if he just turns and walls this guy out, this guy walls this guy out, this guy goes to this backer, our F back goes to this nose guard, and our Y back literally will not have anybody. I mean, maybe this guy, if this guy sees the flow, he might come here. So he's going to pick up anything dirty over here. And these guys are squeezing in just like they did on power. Nothing's changed for them. They're doing the exact same thing, or they should be doing the exact same thing. Okay. And we just call it a lead. Now, what happens to us is this guy, our guard goes all the way out to here, and our tackle goes all the way out to here, and we leave this guy. It turns out he blows up our quarterback. We leave him, there he is. But you say, well, geez, that's not a very good play. What would have happened as we get into this? What would have happened if he's already got him to the outside, if he just walls him off and he walls him off, and this guy goes to the next level, and you look at we do a nice job on the nose guard. Nose guard's not a problem. Look at that. He's already gone. This guy is going to this next level right here. There is a lane right there, boys. There is a big lane. Look at that. If we had this guy blocked, you're telling me that design an offense that you're going to get a bigger lane than that in the middle of the field. You know, that's huge. It's just that we forgot to block one guy, or we didn't block one guy. We didn't execute it. That's coaching. We got to do a better job of making sure that the kids feel comfortable doing what they're doing. So we do a better job here. Boom, boom. That's a way better look. Now, if I was going to critique, I think our line and our running backs, and I would like this guy to be in here just a little bit more. He might as well be doubling this big dude because we're running the ball right here anyway, and he goes out. But it doesn't hurt us. If I was going to critique anybody on this, he scores a touchdown. But I guess you learn, Preston's learned this, if you live in my household, even if you score a touchdown, it can be wrong. Cole should be running the ball right here. Now, we get a hat on a hat, and he feels close enough to the end zone. He sees it, and he goes, and he gets a touchdown right here. He walks in. I'm not sure anybody even touches him. So you're saying, why am I saying that? But look at this. Boom, boom. Look at that block right there. He comes and hits this guy. I would like him to step like it's power and then come straight down the line. Now, this guy is going into this hole. That's who he ends up falling in for the touchdown. He is going into this hole to influence them. Also, a lot of times they're going to have a linebacker right there, okay? But there's a pretty good lane. If we do a better job blocking right here, there's a pretty good lane right here that I think we're going to want to hit. That's where the play is designed to hit. I think maybe we do a little bit better job this time. Nope. Again, he does get one where he does it right. Boom, boom. See, he gets tripped up. Our wide back gets tripped up. But if we're patient in that hole, you guys see that, how that's a skinny hole? It's a skinny hole that's going to open up to a big hole right here. If we're patient and we come right down this lane right here, it's going to be a big play for us. But the whole key is we got to step like power to begin with. We've got to step there right before he gets to that center. He needs to be putting his foot in the ground. I need to pause that so you can see it better. Right here, right? Not helping me. Come on, huddle. Right there, put his foot in the ground and follow that. Does that make sense? And then we'll show one that actually works the right way. There it is. That's the hole I'm talking about. Does a really nice job this time. Boom, boom. I'm not sure where my Y back went. Y back should have been going to the guy who ends up tackling us. But we ran the ball right. Stepped in, got to the right hole. Look how easy of a block that is for our guard and tackle on the play side. I mean, they're already there. All they got to do, I know a lot of people teach keep your butt flat. I don't right now. We're turn, wall that guy to the outside. Wall into the outside, keep him there.
Yeah, if this is done right, it should be one-on-one with the high safety.
Should be one-on-one with number 12. 12 on 12 is what it should have been right there.
Yeah, I guess it's not really a high safety when the safety's playing at 5 yards, but
but that's what it is though. So to me, this play is not a good play if you haven't established power. The power is the key. If you establish that power, it sets up counter, it sets up lead.
It's awesome.
I think this is our last play of the day. There it is. I think we finally got it. We finally got all the aspects of it. Look at that. If anything, he could have maybe cut off of 22's butt just a little bit, but 12 was standing in the hole, so he just followed him. I'm not going to dispute that one. That's a good play. Down block. And this is a 330-pound kid that my fullback is hitting right here. Did he knock him back anywhere? No. Was the kid worried about kid still blocking him because he's mad? Because the guy was in his face and wasn't allowing him to move. And I'd like this backside. I don't care about these guys. I wish they both would have slammed out here. Both of them should have been on this guy and let this guy go. What's he going to do? If he can run all the way back behind and catch us from the backside, he's going to be playing Division I someplace and making a lot of money someday. So, again, if you have any questions, if you want to do chalk talk or anything like that, feel free to get a hold of me. I appreciate Big Time Strength letting me talk about it. I hope it's something that you guys can use. we really feel like it's something that we're going to be able to use from now and well into the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad, for coming on. I really appreciate just being able to see how you talk through film. It takes me back a little bit, and it's kind of fun to sit here. I'm only missing out on Coach Gilbert and Coach Booth being in the same room and going through it too. So,
well, like I said, we are a film team. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we're talking special teams, defense, or offense. What we just did right there is what we do with our kids a lot. And some people don't think that you can do that with kids, but if you show them the importance of it, you saw how we got better as the year went on. And we really think that the film was a big part of that.
Agreed. That's awesome stuff. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to reach out to you, you've got the email here in the slide. I'll put it in the show notes for the podcast, and I'll also put it on for the YouTube video. The podcast, if you're listening online, it's a longer show here. My biggest encouragement is to check it out on YouTube, and just be on the lookout for more of these videos. We've got a lot of strength videos coming your way, a lot of football ones coming your way. Been recording them during this coronavirus time, and there's a lot of good content where a lot of coaches that are passionate about what they're doing, and they're making the big time where they're at, and they're trying to make their place as special as it can be. And I would say that's something that my dad takes a lot of pride in doing. He's been coaching a long time, and 20 years now at Central Decatur, and just invest not only in the football team, but in every academic, athletic activity, whatever it is, and the community. And that's just something that I'm super proud of as being a son of him and what he's doing with that. So if anybody wants to reach out to him, he loves to talk this stuff. So thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.